Hello, everybody. Welcome to ISD 110. I'm, of course, Professor S, and this is today's lecture. All right, so a couple of things. We have the Idea Makers Challenge. I'm going to talk more about operating system, and then I'll remind you of things that are due. And also, in case you didn't know, there's a quiz too that's open, or at least it was right after this class. So, once I said, a reminder about the Idea Maker Challenge. I've talked about this in the previous videos. If you have an idea, make sure you submit before February 12th. Today, what we're talking about is more about operating systems. We kind of talked about a couple things earlier, but I want to make sure I hammer home some of the things. I don't know what to say. But anyways, the idea is we're going to talk more about operating systems. So anyways, first of all, filing systems. I told you it was an important part of operating systems, especially on personal computers. So in the beginning, when there wasn't that much space that you could store on like a floppy drive, you didn't really need a very robust system, right? Like you could hold 7 files, maybe more, but like it really wasn't that big of a deal to like find ones that you're looking for because they're right there. It can't hold much more than that anyway, so you didn't really need anything that robust. But when you get to be a lot of it gets to be more tedious to try to find something. So anyways, what it does, this is called a flat file system, but there was a hierarchical file system, which like on the drive, it kind of looks like this, where it has the files and the folders and that sort of thing. But like there's also the data that's attached to each of these to let them know which are tied to which, so how the branches work. And it works something kind of like this, where like you have files inside of folders, and sometimes folders would be inside folders as well. But this is the hierarchical where there's like the different levels of it. It's a tree. Okay. And then also with software, there's proprietary software and there's open source software. I mean, there's also like different ways that you can pay for software or not pay for software. But we're just going to focus on these. And we actually get into a little bit more with licensing later in the semester, but I want to kind of get these topics a little bit. So like, let's kind of talk about the difference between. So proprietary software, that means you buy the software and it's yours to use it. You're buying the license to use the software. You can't open it. You can't modify it, usually can't, and you can't distribute it. That's what it is. It's closed. You could just do what you're allowed to do with it. Okay, so like an example of it is like pretty much any Microsoft product, right? So if you think about Word or Windows and that sort of thing, like you can install it on your computer, and that's when you pay for it, that's what you're paying for. Maybe somebody else pays for it, like the people that bought your computer, or like the people that manufacture your computer. But somebody's buying it and allowing you to install it on your computer. You are not allowed to open it up and modify it. You're not allowed to give it to other people. You're not allowed to sell it to other people, or like distribute it and make money off of it. So like I have a copy of it and just like keep making copies of it and charge people for it. Microsoft doesn't usually like that. That's like proprietary software. You're just able to, usually you're paying to just use it, or paying for your company to use it or something like that. Another example is the Adobe creative software. So it's not always just like a one-time thing. Sometimes it could be a subscription. So like the Adobe suite, the creative suite that we have access to as with our association with Penn State, that is not a free service. Adobe is collecting money from that. But the idea is like we can use it, but that's what we can only do. We can't edit. We can't change the software. We can't sell it to other people. It is for us to use, and Penn State is paying Adobe for that. Open source software. This is kind of the opposite of that, and it's kind of a little challenging to think about it like this, because like if all those rules that come with proprietary software, a lot of people oftentimes think like with open source software that anything goes, and it doesn't. So even when you're using open source software, there's still license agreements and stuff like that. Like it could be like the license agreement could be that you could distribute and modify it as much as you want, but you can't distribute it to make money off of it. Without also, you can't turn it proprietary is what I'm trying to say. That's a possibility. So just as an example, and the with these open source software, the source code is available to modify and distribute. Another thing too is not oftentimes open source software is free, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's not necessarily by definition free. It's just you're free to do more with it than you are with proprietary software. But oftentimes it's doesn't cost anything. XML. So XML stands for Extensible Markup Language. It's free and it's non-proprietary, so nobody's making money off of it. It's a plain text, so that means it's like, think about like Notepad or TextEdit. I think that's what the Mac version is. But the idea is it's like you make tags. And if you ever looked at XML, maybe you haven't looked at XML, but if you were, it looks like HTML. It looks exactly like HTML, but it's different. Because the idea is like its purpose is to store and transport data so that it can be displayed or used for whatever the reason. Like it could be used in HTML to like or CSS to display a web page information, or it could be used in a Java program or anything like that. Like it's holding data in it, and it's a standard used to make that data easy to access. Now, I said it was kind of like HTML. Let me give you kind of a example of like maybe a line. Like let's say it's like bank account information. Like maybe like the way it works is it starts like one of the parts is like account, and then you have the number, and then what you would do is you'd have this sort of thing, and this closes it. And then it could probably, maybe it has like name of the person. And the thing is like these aren't predefined things. It's just you're defining them as you go. It's a very simple program, but the idea is to transport that data. So you could have maybe multiple accounts that have names below it, and that sort of thing. It's another tree, kind of like that hierarchical folder system. It's not like the same thing, but the idea is it's still tree-like. There's a root where it starts off like bank information, and then bank information is made up of multiple accounts, and in each of the accounts there's names, there's the type of checking account, there's the balance, and like all these different things. Maybe where the account came from, that sort of thing. So the idea is like it's a standard that's used to that's easy to access, and it's free. It's definitely not proprietary. Speaking of proprietary, I'm going to say this word so much that I'm not going to be able to say it anymore. But anyways, OpenOffice is a open source, kind of supposed to be a open source complement to Microsoft Office. But anyways, one of the things that I want to kind of mention, that if you've ever noticed on the default files for Word, it's docx. For Excel, it's XLSX. And for PowerPoint, it's PPTX. And what that X is at the end is signifying XML. Okay, so it uses that non-proprietary standards to help communicate the data that's in those documents. So why is that a big deal? Who cares? So when Microsoft first was doing Word, and it's like it didn't change until I think 2007. They like I said it before, like Microsoft stuff works very well with Microsoft, but it doesn't really play as well with others. And this XML modification to their document system is an attempt to at least seem like they're working better with others. And it does. It works better with other things. So like OpenOffice can not only read these files, but it can also write them. So it's so OpenOffice can read docx files and write them. All right. Anyways, so let's talk about what's due. So just as a reminder, the GUI assignment, that's due Monday. I talked a lot about that in the last lecture. So if you have any questions about that, just look in the last lecture, or come to any of our office hours. We got a bunch of them, and we'd be happy to talk to you about it. Also, the peer review window, it's actually closed now, I think. No, wait, no, it's still open until Thursday when class begins, 2:30. So, also the quiz is open right now, or as long as the quiz is open, you have time to take it. So please, good luck, and I will see you all Monday. Hey everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please press the like button. It lets me know I'm doing something right. If you have any questions about any of the content, please send an email through Canvas to both me and the rest of the teaching team, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Do not send it through normal email. You will not get as fast response. If you have any suggestions for how I can make these videos better, please leave in the comments below. Don't forget to roundhouse kick the subscribe button and ring the bell to get notified for when I post the next video. Anyway, I think that's good for now, and I will see you all next class.